2025. We're in District 10. Excited about the year. Thank you all for coming tonight. We are ready for the presentation of the colors by VFW Post 8397. Please rise for the national anthem.
Detail. Halt. Left. Face. Present. Arms.
Civilians, please place your right hand over your heart for the national anthem. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll now read the pledge for the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one nation, under God, one indivisible. Thank you.
Honor up. Shoulder. Halt. Right. Face. Forward. March.
All right, let's be seated. Well, we have a jam-packed program for you tonight with a couple of very special guests. One that we were able to get last minute that we are very excited about. But we are going to begin tonight with our very own Chief McMannus. And the Chief is playing hurt tonight. He's got a bit of a back issue, but he said he would not miss this for anything. So let's give a big round of applause to our police chief.
Good evening, everybody. How about a big round of applause for Officer Aguilar back there? He's our state officer. So, as Councilmember mentioned, I promised I'd be here, and I didn't want to let him down. I didn't want to let you down. So here I am. That's why I'm sitting down up here out of uniform, because my leg is killing me. I want to go over a couple things, and I'm going to do it in rather quickly. I want to read some crime stats to you. I don't want to bore you with them, but I want to let you know what we're looking like. talk about a little bit about response times, a little bit about the number of calls that we received over the year. And then I want to go into the shooting from earlier in the week or last week and talk about that a little bit. So talking about the crime stats, looking at our neighbors numbers, violent crime is down just slightly, but it's still down. Property crime is down 5%. And I know that if you just had your car broken into, you don't like hearing about how property crime is down because these crimes still affect you. And when they affect you, as minor as everybody talks about them, they're serious. And then crimes against society, which are crimes like animal cruelty, narcotics offenses, gambling, crimes without a complainant or without a victim, those crimes are up almost 29%. And the reason they're up, it only gets reported when there's an arrest made. So they're up because there are more arrests being made for crimes against society. So in 2024, SAPD received over 2.3 million calls for service, 2.3 million. Of those calls, there were 1.2 million, over 1.2 million emergency calls and over 1 million non-emergency calls. That's a lot of calls that these officers are running back and forth to. Response times, we go back to 2022. Emergency response times in 2022 was 6 minutes and 26 seconds. Non-emergency response times, 19 minutes, 36 seconds. 2023, our time improved, 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Emergency times went up a little bit, 20 minutes and 12 seconds. And in 2024, we improved again, 5 minutes and 56 seconds for us to get to an emergency call, and 20 minutes and 10 seconds to get to a non-emergency call. Our arrests, as usual, are up. In 2022, there were over 42,000 arrests. In 2023, there were over 44,000 arrests. And in 2024, there were over 45,000 arrests. I'm looking at a different set of numbers here for violent crime. And I'm looking at down 2.4% for crimes against persons and 7.7 decrease again in property crimes. Strategies to reduce crime over the year have been violent crime. Violent crime, we had a violent crime reduction plan that we're working with UTSA. We had our comprehensive domestic violence plan. We had the Texas Anti-Gang Unit. Our robbery task force unit, which has made a significant difference in our property crimes. We have the ATF gun unit, and we have the human trafficking stop grant. Property crime reduction strategy, we have the property crimes task force, holiday crime task force, business against theft network, or BATNet, and then the downtown high visibility crime plan. Our community policing efforts, we have SAFE, we have community engagement office, community crime prevention, and citizens on patrol. And our collaborative strategies, we have SA Core, which is our response to mental health calls. We have our downtown camera plan, which should be up and running in a couple months. Our good neighbor plan, our trauma-informed care certification training, and that'll do it for the crime stats. Let me talk a little bit about the shooting on Saturday night. The question comes into mind, maybe for some of you, how could 7 police officers be shot on a call? Well, this started out as a suicide in progress call. And when the officers arrived, they stopped in the CBC parking lot and they devised a plan on how to approach this individual, suicide with a gun. So they devised a plan on how to approach this individual who was supposed to be in an apartment. So they go toward the apartment, but it just so happened, and there were people out in the lot. So they go to the apartment, they're heading to the apartment, this guy is hiding in the breezeway. And at one point hiding under a car, where he shoots the first officer and he goes down. You had several officers who tried to assist him because he was down in the open. The gunman was still out there. They approached with shields. He then fired a round of buckshot at them. And that buckshot hit, I think, three or four of them in the face and in the body. And then after that, subsequent to that, there were, I believe, 2 more shot. So it wasn't a matter of one walking up unaware of anything was going on, another walking up unaware of anything was going on. They were trying to rescue these individuals. And at that time, we didn't have a SWAT unit there, nor did we have those armored vehicles there that we could pull in and use the shields to pull those injured officers out. So that's how 7 officers wind up getting shot. One of the things that I've talked about over and over and over again, I've gotten into heated arguments with different organizations within the criminal justice system. Why do so many people get out on multiple bonds and then they wind up shooting, committing more crime, shooting police officers as well as citizens? Since we went back since to 2020, January of 2020, and we were pulling up all the individuals who were been arrested for shooting police officers and been involved in violent crimes since that time to see how many of them were out on multiple bonds and deferred adjudication, probation. Well, the explanation, I call it an excuse, but the explanation that I get is that everybody, according to the Texas Constitution, is entitled to a bond or a bail. And it's somewhat contradictory in its definition of everyone is entitled. If you're convicted under certain circumstances, you're not. Their circumstances are if you're convicted of a capital felony, capital crime, and that is murder during a robbery, if you murder children under a certain age, if you murder multiple people, or if you have a record of continuous felony offenses. All of these individuals that I'm talking about right now have a record of continuous felony offenses. So why is it that magistrates continue to put these folks out on bond and bail, deferred adjudication, and that sort of thing? I can't tell you how angry that makes me. And again, this was a couple of years ago I got involved in this argument or debate with certain folks in the criminal justice system. But even the 8th Amendment of the Constitution doesn't necessarily guarantee bond or bail. It says that if you get a bail, you can't charge an excessive amount for the bond or the bail. But even the Constitution of the United States doesn't guarantee you a bond. And this is a real long process to ever make this work. But instead of saying in the Texas Constitution, I think there needs to be an amendment. Instead of saying that everyone is guaranteed a bond or is eligible for bond, it should say everyone should be considered or could be considered for a bond. Not that they should have it, but you have all these folks who are out there doing, continuing to commit felonies. They're shooting police officers. They're shooting citizens during crimes they commit. They're on multiple bonds, and it just makes me sick to my stomach when we look at the records of these individuals who are still out there. This is a big problem. A big problem for me, big problem for the department, big problem for all law enforcement. And if this doesn't go on here, it goes on all around the country, whatever their constitution said. But I suspect they're probably along the lines of the Texas Constitution. So that's my rant on people who are out on bond and shouldn't be. If they were locked up waiting trial, they wouldn't be continuing to commit criminal offenses. I had a meeting this morning with executives from HSI, Homeland Security, ICE, and emergency removal operations. And yesterday they called our prisoner processing center and wanted to know, they come in every morning at 5 o'clock. They wanted to know if they could increase that to every hour. Well, we are bound by law to follow the law when it comes to immigration laws. So SB 4, for example, that requires us to cooperate with federal authorities. And what does that mean, cooperate? Does it mean if they ask us to do A, B, or C, we're required to do it? Pretty much. If they ask us to transport somebody back to their facility, is that cooperating? Pretty much. So my response to, we work with them on their request to come into the prison processing center. The reason they want to come in there is because they want to issue detainers if they have anyone on their list. And the detainer means that if HSI wants you, they give us notice. Do not let these folks go until we come back and get them. We'll be back in 24 hours or 48 hours, but at least notify us before you let them go. So we do that. We've agreed to allow them to come in, not agreed to allow, but we've come to an agreement where they'll come in every 3 hours. And they check people they want for the detainer list, and they check people that we have who are on that list, and they'll issue us a detainer for that. That detainer may go over to the county with them, and I'm not sure what happens with it over there, but we will hold them until HSI or ICE comes in and gets them. Now, I met with them this morning after that initial conversation about the prison processing center and how long, how often they would come in. I met with them this morning, and we talked again about cooperation. And my bottom line is, and this is to whomever I speak with, we will do what is required by law to comply with SB 4 and to comply with the President's executive order on immigration. And that's our bottom line. We will comply with the law. And I've had folks come in from ACLU, other community organizations, and ask me to speak out against that, take a position against it, and told them I would not do that. Our bottom line is, again, we will follow what the law dictates, period, end of story on that one. So. Lastly, the HSI's field director, his name is Vergara. He and his staff, two of his staff members, said they were going to be here tonight because there's a lot of misinformation that's being spread around on social media about what HSI is going to do, what ICE is going to do, what they're not going to do. And he said that he's willing to come to any meetings and explain to the community about what their role is and what they're going to do or not going to do. So they said they were going to show up here tonight. I don't know if they'll be here, but if they do, I've already informed council member that they were intending to show up. I don't see them here now.
Yep, they are here, and we appreciate them coming. But I know you've got to run, so what we're going to do is we're going to allow two questions. If we have any questions for the chief, we're going to limit it to 2 because, again, he's playing with pain and we got to get him home. But what a guy for showing up tonight, right? Yeah, first question.
Sorry, guys, I didn't recognize you over there.
Luckily, we're not talking about 7 deceased police officers, because that could have easily happened as well.
It very well could have. It very
Well, could have. It went the right way.
We had 2 seriously wounded.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, does the buck stop with D.A. Gonzalez? I mean, does this start with him, and he gave orders to the man? How does that work? I don't know the system.
Well, the magistrates are appointed by the district judges. They're part-time magistrates, and I'm not, I'm not trying to pick a fight with any one individual, but it's the system that bothers me. And it's got to be in sync or it doesn't work. And I said that before, and I'll continue to say it until eventually it works.
How would we correct the system? How do we do it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's not an easy process.
We don't want 7 more police officers or more.
Right.
Crooks take this as an example, and they say, hey, he got away with that. And then I'll try it too.
You know, it's up to the magistrates to deny bond. And the rules that I read, under which they could be denied a bond, I read that without bond, they exist. But, I can't answer why they do what they do.
Okay, sir, thank you.
All right, one more for the chief, and we'll get him out of here. Anybody? Yes, ma'am.
I don't need a microphone, I'm a teacher, I don't know how to yell. So I don't know if my question is gonna be for you, or if it's going to be for the other gentleman that you said from coming here, thank you. But as a teacher, I guess my question is, when you talk about this SB4 and your compliance with that, what does that mean for schools and for students at my school?
Yeah, that's probably a better question for these guys. I know this morning in the meeting, and I'll just divulge this a little bit. These guys are after the people who have criminal warrants, if I'm not mistaken, right now. And they can explain more about that. But it was a great meeting this morning. I appreciate you guys for coming in and work with you.
Thanks again to the chief. All right. All right, well, next up, Ice. Come on.
All right, it works. Good evening, everybody. My name is Vergara. I'm the Field Office Director for Enforcement and Removal Operations within ICE. We are the folks who apprehend aliens with criminal records, warrants, people who pose a threat to public safety, to the communities where we all live in, or a threat to national security, detain, and then subsequently remove them from the United States to their respective countries. And Councilman White, I really appreciate the invitation hosting me here. As the chief said earlier, we met this morning, a very productive meeting, great spirit of cooperation, and I believe we are in complete agreement and in sync with the priorities of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ERO, and the chiefs in the form of basically arresting and removing from the community everybody who poses a threat to the community, to you, to public safety, including schools, kids, families. At the end of the day, regardless of the community where you live in, nobody wants to be exposed to danger. Nobody wants to get hurt. We don't want nobody to get hurt, whether it's a police officer or a civilian, a member of the community. We don't want that. Right? And the way we accomplish that is working with local authorities like the San Antonio Police Department. And once a person is identified who has a criminal record, who's not supposed to be here, who poses a danger to society, we place a detainer. In other words, let the law enforcement agency know, please hold them for up to 24 to 48 hours so we can arrange transportation and bring them into our custody. We get them and then we put into proceedings, so due process is guaranteed constitutionally. At the end of that, if the immigration judge determines that the person has no right, no merit to remain in the United States, they're ordered removed, and then we take care of finding them a way home. And that's pretty much in a nutshell, a capsule statement, if you would, how the system works. As the chief said, we focus or target only individuals with criminal records. And as you hear in the media, the president has been speaking about it pretty vocally. The worst of the worst. Anybody who poses, again, a threat to society. That is the common theme, the common threat. Criminal records, convictions, gang members, national security, anybody like that who poses a danger to you or me, my family, your family. That's the people who we are after. Okay? There is no, as the chief said, there is no truth to the fact that, or anything like to do raids or checkpoints or anything like that. We don't do that in enforcement and removal operations. We have sole jurisdiction of enforcing immigration law inland, in the country, as opposed to with the border. However, we don't do that. We don't do checkpoints, we don't do raids, we don't do zone enforcement. We conduct or engage in targeted enforcement, meaning when we leave the office in the morning or during the day to arrest somebody, we know exactly who we're looking for. By name, by picture, we know what they look like, and pretty good idea of where they are located. Okay? So, we work with other federal agencies. HSI, Homeland Security Investigation, is one of our sister agencies. We work in tandem with them. We also work with FBI, DEA, ATF, Marshals, Bureau of Prisons, to accomplish the same mission. Why is that? Because it's far safer, more efficient. Once a person is in law enforcement custody, whether it be city, state, county, for enforcement and removal operations, ERO, to apprehend that person in a safe environment. He's already in custody. He's already in a safe environment. They're not free to go. It's already established they're a threat to society. So here we come. We take custody of them rather than waiting until the individual is released back into the community so they can reoffend, as the chief was mentioning, and possibly hurt somebody, to then go after that individual. Then it becomes kind of like a chase or a hunt, if you will. And we don't want to do that. That's one of the reasons we try to the best of our ability to work with law enforcement agencies to avoid it, to basically minimize the effort. Plus, at the same time, we're all taxpayers, correct? So if a person is already in custody, why allow them to be free so we can spend more taxpayer money looking for them? Makes no sense. So, in a nutshell, I'm glad to be here. I appreciate the fact that you guys are having me, Councilman. Thank you again. And thank you to the chief, although I understand the reasons why he had to go. And I'll be here after the meeting ends for a few questions.
Can you take 2 questions?
Sure, I sure can.
All right, let's have a couple of questions. Yes, ma'am.
I understand about detaining people that.
Can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I understand about detaining people that have been taken downtown to the police department to jail. But will you also be detaining people from other locations? And what is the concern with the protests and all that are going on in our city already with violence occurring?
When you say from other locations, could you give me an example?
Well, is the only people that you're going to detain people that you're getting out of jail, or are you going to detain people from other spots?
No. Yes and no. We will detain people from jail. We prefer that because, like I explained earlier, it's a safer, more controlled, easier environment, more efficient for everybody at that point. But we also have target enforcement that includes people who are fugitives, people who come in, they were allowed to pursue their immigration case in a non-detained setting, kind of like similar to probation and parole, and they failed to follow through. And they either got earned convictions, we can use that term loosely, they were convicted of something, violated the law in some way, shape, or form, and eventually, whether by compliance or non-compliance, earned themselves an immigration order to judge to be removed from the country. Then they hide, they become absconders. So we go and target them. It takes a little bit more work, but to answer your question, we do that as well. We have a fugitive operations unit and other units as well that augment them, and we work with all the law enforcement agencies and partners to identify, locate, and then apprehend those individuals as well. So we're not limited to just law enforcement agencies. And it's always preferred because it's easier and more, it's safer, but we'll do it in a public environment as well.
So are you concerned about violence occurring during those type of apprehensions with possible protesters, etc.?
As far as the question is that we're concerned with violence and possible protests during the stop enforcement operations, we are, and that's why our officers, we train regularly to handle those type of situations. We never take anything for lightly. There is no such thing as sometimes we all say in a comfortable, we say a routine operation. There is no such thing as routine operation. Everything is taken very seriously. Everything is literally a life and death situation, and every encounter, even if the person is not armed, every encounter is an armed encounter. Why? Because we're bringing the weapon. So we take it very seriously. As far as protests, again, we deal with those. We try to avoid escalation. We work with local law enforcement. But at the end of the day, there's a fine line that we have to walk, all of us, right? And it's the fact that those individuals, even if they disagree with us, they have the right to protest. And as long as they do it peacefully, it is one of the beautiful things about the United States. They have the right to speak out. So, thank you.
One more.
Thank you for your presence in the city. Appreciate that. I want to ask you, nationwide or locally, is there is the agency setting up a hotline if we see any suspicious activity from gangs or activity?
That's a great question. Thank you for that. I want to offer two possible ways to reporting. One is what we call an intake number, is 1-877-2-INTAKE. I'll repeat it again, 1-877.
Wait.
I'm sorry?
Say it again.
1-877-2, and then the word intake.
Intake.
You dial that. That is a way of reporting illegal actions, crimes. It goes to our Office of Investigation. They take that very seriously. In this area, the Office of Investigation is right here, all located, and I know the director, and I met with him as recent as 3:30 this afternoon, and they take it very seriously. The other one is our local way of reporting is our community outreach email. If you choose that, is San Antonio, altogether, no space, no period, no nothing. San Antonio .outreach, the word outreach, and the @ symbol, ice.dhs.gov. If you send an email there, it'll come to us directly, and again, we will take action immediately. You have my word on that. And we'll do whatever needs to be done within the legal confines or within the parameters of the law to address the situation. And if it doesn't fall under our purview, then we'll definitely refer it to the chief or whoever needs to be referred to for. But thank you for that. You get illegal activity. It could be. No, well, that would be the local police. But illegal activities that relates to like federal law, immigration law. If you suspect the people who conducting the activity could be gang members, and you suspect they could be here illegally in the United States, you report it. And again, if it goes to that line and it turns out that doesn't apply to us, that the law and the scope of the law is not for us to handle, then we'll refer it to the police department.
Thank you so much for being here. And I'm really pleased we were able to fit this in at the last minute because it's obviously very relevant to what's going on now. And there's a lot of misinformation out there, but you heard it straight there, exactly who the federal government is looking at. You know, it's not anybody and everybody, so we really appreciate that information. I'm also going to tell y'all, I call it the Mike Gallagher rule, where these meetings last 1 hour on the dot. We may go a little bit over today. Sorry, Councilman Gallagher, but we had to squeeze that in. All right, next up. Amin, thank you for coming.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Amin Tohmaz. I'm the Deputy Director at Development Services. I oversee code enforcement and inspections. So I love to talk code, and I can talk for hours, but as I know, I have only 10 minutes. So I'm gonna squeeze it in. Now I have PowerPoint presentation, and I hope if you want it, you can get it from the council office. I don't mind sharing that, so it has a bunch of information. So there is two major topics that I'm gonna talk about. One is code enforcement, and the other one is permits. So again, I'll go as fast as I can. So the first thing is, how do you report a code violation? What kind of code violations you report or you can report? What happens? What's the process? What's the next step? How do you follow up on that? How do you know the status? That's what I'm going to talk about. So the first step is how do you report code violation? The best approach is 311. You can call 311, report it. You can download the app on your phone. It's 311 app. I have it on my phone actually. I do create cases while I'm driving. I see violations. I pull to the side and I put it in. And I don't put my name. It's anonymous. So my team doesn't know I'm the one who created that. So if you want to be anonymous, you can. You want to put your name, you can. It's up to you. The third option is if you have a laptop or a computer, you can log in and go on the website of 311 and report that violation there. What kind of violations you can report? Dilapidated structure, a vacant lot, vacant structure, tall grass, junk vehicles, short-term rentals, issues, if you see that, mobile home investigations, if you have that, any issues at apartments, property maintenance codes, it's like all of the above. It's a lot of things. And again, there's kind of a list here, there's some of the codes that we utilize for those type of violations. So let's talk about certain terminologies. When a code officer goes out to a site after they get the 311 call, the first step is to identify that violation. If they find a violation, they would issue something called a notice of violation. A lot of people call us up saying, hey, I get a citation, I get a ticket. No, that's not a ticket, that's a notice. All what we are telling you is, we noticed your grass is tall and it's more than 12 inches. Cut it and you have 10 days to cut your grass. So that's just a notice. So after the notice is the citation. So if we come back after 10 days and the issue, the violation, again, let's talk about tall grass. The tall grass is still tall after 10 days, that means you didn't cut it. Then potentially you might get a citation. So the first one is a notice of violation, it's not a citation, okay? Now if, again, we come back after another 10 days and the violation still exists, we do have contractors, third-party contractors that we pay them directly from the city fund to abate that, again, to go cut the grass. So if they go cut the grass, we would pay them, and then we would assess those fees back to the owner. So again, we don't want to do that, but obviously to take care of it, we're going to have when we pay for it. If the issue is really severe, like dilapidated structure or really bad structures, then we have something called the Building Standard Board. It's actually a board that has 14 members, 14 citizens. They don't work for the city. They're appointed by council to review everything we do. So if you have an appeal in regards to property maintenance code or anything, you can appeal that to them. They will review the case and they can make an order or make a ruling. Their rulings is potentially they disagree with our decision or they agree. The other thing, they could actually order repairs, say you have to repair the structure, or they can even order up to demolition, which is the last resort, but they can order that. If the structure is really, really bad and you're not fixing it, it might end up to a position where it's going to be ordered demolition. By that board, again, the board is not the city of San Antonio. The last thing is when we issue citations or tickets, we have two types. We have something we call it civil case or civil citation, and the other one is criminal. So the civil one, it goes through municipal court here, but we call it, we have administrative hearing officer. He's the one, he or she will listen to the case. They're kind of like a judge, but again for civil cases. The other one would be criminal, and it goes as Class C misdemeanor. So overall, here's the process. I kind of said it a little bit earlier, but technically, we received the case through 311, one of the methods from 311. We get it. We have 2 days to go respond and do the investigation. We will do that if we find an issue. We issue notice of violation, give the person 10 days to fix it. After the 10 days, we go back again to confirm if that issue is fixed. If it's fixed, we are done, everybody's happy. All what we want is compliance. If that's not fixed, then we issue the citation. And then from there we go to potentially abatement or anything else. So that's just a quick process. Again, this one here is showing you two different types. The top one shows you that Our goal, and that's one goal that the mayor and council actually put on us, saying every case we receive, we want end resolution within 45 days. So 90% of the cases we receive, we want to get them to the finish line within 45 days. The reason for the 45 days is, again, we find the violation, we have 10 days, 2 days to go there, then we have 10 days to give them notice to fix it. Then we go again, we issue citation. When we issue the citation, we will set up a court date in front of the administrative hearing officer, and normally it's between 2 to 3 weeks after the fact. Then the order comes out, and if they don't do it, we will hire our contractor to do the work, and that's about a week. So if you add all that, that's 45 days. So that's the goal. The bottom one is basically for any dilapidated structures that they go to the building standard board. That one takes longer because we have a due process. We have to give the owner plenty of time, plenty of notices. We need to give them 30-day notice, wait for a response, then give them another notice. If they are financially need assistance, they can ask for a hardship, and that hardship can go up to 9 months. And then after that, we continue the process. We need to meet with them, and there's again a due process. It's a long process. The fastest case would be about 6 months. It might go up to a year and a half if there's 9 months of hardship, basically. So again, that's the bottom one, just showing you that process. What are the common violations in the city of San Antonio? We respond to about 350,000 calls a year. Half of them, I want to say, about half of them is actually the first one, overgrown vegetation, tall grass, shrubs, things like that. That's really the biggest one we have. The second one is junk vehicle. It's not really the second one as far as count. Just one of the common ones is junk vehicle means a vehicle that doesn't operate. So if we see that, sometimes it looks new, but it doesn't work. We get a call about it. We knock on the door, say, is this vehicle operable? And the owner says yes or no. They say yes, can you show me? Start it, put it in drive a little bit, go 2-3 feet, put it in reverse, go, we are good. Then we close the case. If the vehicle cannot move or cannot start, then based on the state law, we have to give them 30-day notice to either fix it or remove it, and then after that, we follow the process after that. The third one is items stored outside. We call it outside placement. So there's certain items you can put outdoor, patio furniture and things like that, but if I go and put regular table outside, or regular couch outside, or I put a fridge outside, those are items that shouldn't be outside. So we call it outside placement, and we say, again, you have 10 days, pull them back in, or again, we're going to give you a citation. Number 4, we see this a lot actually, front yard parking. A lot of people have multiple vehicles. I'm one of them, but I don't park in the front yard. Between me and my wife and kids, we have 5 vehicles, so they do park. A couple of them in the garage, 2 of them in the driveway, and then 1 of them in the street. Not in the grass. If you park your vehicle on the grass in your front yard, that is a violation. As long as you park your vehicle on a surface that is approved for vehicles, then you're okay. But if you, again, on grass or dirt or whatever, some people say, oh, I don't have grass. You know why? Because they park their vehicle for a long time, it's killed the grass. But that doesn't make the driveway an appropriate place to park. The last one is trash, brush, and debris. You can see the picture here, so that's a real picture of one of the cases we have. So people just put trash outside and all that. So again, we take care of it. Gentlemen, I have time. I still have a lot to talk about.
You got a couple more minutes.
Okay, a couple more minutes. So again, I think I talked about this slide, how you get the notice and what to do with it, and what's the next step on the process for that. One of the big things I want to say here is make sure you know your supervisor, your code supervisor, know your manager, know all your teams. So here's the names of everybody. Mike Urasti is the code manager for your area. John Kelly is the supervisor, and everybody else is listed here. So please make sure to connect with them. As I said, if you get a copy of this, you have the link up there, and then you have the QR code. If you do that, it's going to pull that list for you. You should have their email addresses, phone numbers, everything. You can connect with them basically. So that's everything about code. Let me jump into permits, and I'll try to squeeze it really quick. So permitting, I mean, in a nutshell, I think the question is, do you need a permit or not? The answer is most of the time, yes. If you are painting in your house, if you are changing the carpet, changing the cabinets in the kitchen, things like that, just, I guess, for the surface, if you will, doing flooring, changing the carpet, putting wood or vice versa or whatever, all that does not need permits. Anytime you do mechanical work, which is AC units, anytime you do plumbing work, anytime you do electrical work, those three, you need permits / you need somebody who is licensed by the state of Texas. You cannot just hire a handyman to come and change your air handling unit, for example. Take your AC unit out, put new one in, and they're just handyman, they're not licensed by the state, that is illegal. So you need a licensed person and a permit. If you are building walls or you are changing the floor plan in your house, removing walls, adding walls, you need a permit. Okay? So that's really the quickest answer I'll give you. Carports, you need permits. Patios, you need permits. Decks, you need permits. Swimming pools, you need permits. The one thing I want to tell you, keep that in mind. I think if you learn this today, that would be the one thing I really want you to know. If you don't know if you need a permit or not, call our office. It's 210-207-41. It's right here. Where is that? Somewhere here. Here we go. So if you don't know if you need a permit or not, just call our number and ask them, say, I want to do ABC. Do I need permit? Do I need licensed contractor? Do I need whoever? And they will give you exactly the answer. Okay? Couple more things, Ricky. So that's about permits. I just have a couple of updates, if you want to know. We have a few things going on. One of them is Senior Assistant Program. This program started a year and a half ago as a pilot program for 1 year, and then now council approved it as a full program, so we are still moving forward with it. It's really to help elderly and or disabled people who have financial need. So if they have any issues with, again, tall grass, a fallen tree, things like that, we actually talk to them, and we have some money assigned, hopefully we have enough, I guess, to keep helping those folks who are financial need, again, to maybe cut their grass and not charge them. If a tree is fallen, we cut it, we remove it, again, we don't charge them. So that's free of charge for those citizens. So this is really a good program that, again, started about a year and a half ago. We have another program that started a couple of years ago in 2023. We call it the Proactive Apartment Inspection Program. The reason why council came up with this and, directed us to create a program, when it's single-family dwelling unit and there is an issue there, normally you're talking about one family. But sometimes in apartments, if they have a chiller and that chiller actually covers all the buildings, when that chiller goes down, everybody doesn't have either AC or everybody doesn't have hot water or whatever. So it actually affects multiple people. That's why we created this program. And since April 2023 till actually a few days ago, we did 44,000 inspections for apartments. And we actually touched 1,767 physical different apartments, different addresses. The program is working really, really nice. The last one I have is short-term rentals. I don't know if any of you have that, or anybody of you use the short-term rentals. It's like Airbnb and Vergara and things like that. So we had the ordinance in 2018, but just recently, last year, we updated a few things in it. We increased the enforcement. We heard it, council heard it, that there's a lot of issues with short-term rentals, so actually we kind of pushed the enforcement a little bit higher to make sure they comply. The fees went up a little bit, and then now we are working actually with the platforms, with Airbnb and Vergara, and those like 6-7 big platforms. We are working with them directly to help us monitor anybody who has permit or anybody who doesn't have permit. And that's how we're kind of enforcing actually the rules. With that said, that's everything I have. Again, sorry I was rushing.
And it's not Amin's fault, but he's right. All those damn permit regulations, You know, we did budgeting over the last year and a half. I think we're going to fix the permitting thing in these next couple of years. Too many damn permits needed. It takes too long. Construction's taking too long across our city. We're going to fix that. All right, Volunteers of America. Well, I mean, will you stick around to answer some individual questions after we're done?
I will.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Volunteers of America.
Good evening, everyone. So there's two places I don't ever want to be. Between someone eating and between someone sleeping. So I won't be long. My name is Erica English. I am the Senior Director of Marketing and Communications for Volunteers of America, Texas. And this is a little bit about what I want to talk about today. What's in the name, a little bit about our services, our footprint, also our story, and how you guys can get involved in some of the things that we're doing in the community. First, what's in the name? You hear Volunteers of America and you think that we are a volunteer placement agency. That is not what we are. Volunteers of America started in 1896, and we are a version of the Salvation Army. In fact, the son and the daughter-in-law of the founders of the Salvation Army started Volunteers of America so that they could keep resources right here in the United States. They were sent from England to come over to the U.S. to start a Salvation Army post, and the parents wanted the resources to go back to England. The kids said no, and Volunteers of America was formed. Now, you guys know eventually the Salvation Army did come, but it was after Volunteers of America was already here. We are 127 years old. We have 34 affiliates throughout the United States. We're in 400 communities, and even though our name says volunteers, we actually have over 16,000 paid, credentialed, licensed, degreed staff members. And we serve about 1.5 million people every single year throughout the country. Right here in Texas, we have affordable housing, reentry services for people who are returning from prison, substance use treatment, programs for people with intellectual disabilities, workforce development, and veterans. Now, in your neck of the woods here in San Antonio, we have affordable housing. We have 3 units on the northwest side of town. We also, at one point, had a supportive services for veteran families program that we really hope to bring back to your community one day as soon as we get more grant funding. And we also, at one point, had a substance use treatment residential facility for women where they can come live with us for 90 days with their children. And we housed them and we gave them rehab services until they were able to get better and get out and live on their own. This is our footprint. So you can see that we serve most of Texas, and we have 1 senior housing property in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We hope to be able to serve more people there, but the majority of what we do is senior housing for people 62 years and older. And these are independent senior housing departments. You come and go as you please, and you can have visitors and all that other kind of good stuff. This is how you can get involved with VOA. You can host a virtual drive. If you have Amazon and you want to send our seniors some canned goods that like puzzles, everything that you like here that you do here at the Senior Center, they like to do on the property. So you can almost just imagine the possibilities. You can get involved. We have corporations that come and volunteer with our seniors. They play bingo, they win money sometimes, amongst a lot of other cool prizes. We of course accept donations because we're a nonprofit. So if you feel compelled to give, you can do that as well. And if you are active on social media, you can be an ambassador. And this is how you can contact me. I know most of you guys are living in single-family homes, but if you find yourself in need or want to live in a housing community of ours, feel free to give me a call. That's my email address. We usually have a wait list. I learned today, I was in a couple properties, and we're at full capacity, but that can change at any moment. But don't forget about Volunteers of America. Let us be one of the first people you call in case you want to move, okay? Well, have a good evening and good night.
All right, and there, Volunteers of America are going to stick around for some questions as well. So you'll have Ice, them, and Amin. I don't think he left, and to ask some questions when we get done. All right, last is your District 10 update. First of all, Happy New Year to everybody. I hope the holidays were great. Let me tell you a few things that went on right before the break and what's coming up. Before the break, and where's Roy? Roy? Wave. Roy served on the Sabeda committee for the city. Let's give him a big round of applause because let me tell you, it wasn't widely reported, but right before the break, we had a vote on city council where we amended the Sabeda rules. Sabeda is the rules in place govern how we as a city can give out contracts, specifically construction contracts, right? And when these companies are applying for business with the city, companies that have minority or female-owned businesses would get extra points, based on the ownership of the business. Now listen, you've seen the construction going on around the city, right? And I am most definitely not talking in specific about minority or women-owned businesses. My job, I believe, is to try to do something to make sure construction goes quicker, right? It's just taking far too long. I got people in neighborhoods calling us saying they can't get out of their driveways. You see it on the highways. You see it on major thoroughfares. It's taking too long. So we let in effort. Roy helped through Sabeda, and what we were able to do is take away some of the points, readjust the point system, so now when contractors apply for business with the city, they're going to get construction jobs based on merit, right? We're going to look at their track record. Look at their track record. Are they finishing jobs on time? How about that? Are they finishing jobs within budget? How about that? And so you're going to start to see, I think, contractors get these jobs that are going to do things in a more timely fashion. And so Roy was instrumental on that committee. The new policy, by the way, we had to do it because the Supreme Court has said you have to make these adjustments to your policy in certain circumstances. We've done it now as a city, so I'm proud of the work that Roy did, and we were able to get it through on council with sort of a close vote, but we got it done. Additionally, coming up this Thursday, right, along the same lines, y'all might have seen, about 3 months ago, right, I sit on the Municipal Utilities Committee, and about 3 months ago, we had the head of SAWS come before our committee, and I started talking to him about these construction delays, and he looked at me and he said, Councilman, he said, it's not our fault, it's Public Works' fault. And I looked at him and I said, wow, why are we pointing fingers at each other? Do you think the citizens of San Antonio care whether the construction delays are caused by SAWS or whether they're caused by our Public Works Department? Of course they don't. So what I ask is that SAWS and our Public Works Department get in the same room and figure out just what the heck's going on, right? Because we have to have coordination between the two. SAWS has got to go in and do their work underground before Public Works can come in and fix the street. We got to have coordination there. And coming up this Thursday, we have a new memorandum of understanding that council is going to be voting on, and on all future construction projects now, SAWS is going to have to be a signatory to these contracts. They're going to have to do their part, otherwise they're going to be held responsible for any delays that happen moving forward. So it's going to be a really important new memorandum of understanding between SAWS and the city of San Antonio that I hope is going to go a long way towards making our construction efforts be a little bit more efficient. So we got the SAWS MOU, we talked about Sabeda, Northeast Corridor. So for years, right, we've been talking about Northeast Corridor revitalization. And I think we're finally going to get there. This Thursday, City Council is going to vote on a package which is going to include a professional services agreement with a consultant, right, who we've been working with through the city. And I would be remiss if I didn't point out Pauline Rubio. Wave, let's give her a round of applause. Pauline has been instrumental in driving this effort. We've been working with this consultant who's going to come in. We're going to have a new market study, review and analysis of the Northeast Corridor Enhancement Grant Program, and basically we're going to be evaluating all the conditions within the Northeast Corridor, right? Up Perrin, Vital, and through our major corridors in District 10. We're going to start getting facade improvements to some of these buildings. We're going to start getting new lighting along some of these streets. And by doing that, I think we're going to increase public safety. We're going to increase the look of the corridor, hopefully get some new businesses that will invest in the corridor and really sort of spruce up the middle of District 10. So I thank Pauline for all of her work on that. And that's going to be an initiative. I wanted to talk about it 6 months ago, but I wasn't entirely sure we were going to get it to this point. But finally, this coming Thursday, City Council is going to vote on it. It's going to pass, and we're going to move this Northeast Corridor plan forward. Max, where are you? Say hello to our newest District 10 member, Max. Max is going to be handling a lot of our special events and other constituent-related duties. We're really pleased to have Max. He's already been doing a great job. We had our Dream Week event this past Saturday where we honored the African American historical cemeteries that we have in District 10, and Max did a great job on his first event there, so we're lucky to have him. All right, what's coming up? February 17th, Northeast Neighborhood Alliance meeting, right here at 6:30. February 22nd, Basura Bash. It was great last year, right? Basura Bash, it's going to be at Tobin Trailhead, 2126 Northeast Loop 410 from 9 to noon. All right, 9 to noon, February 22nd. Come on out, help us clean up parts of District 10. And then March 29th, we're going to have our shredded event. You'll recall we had one in the fall of last year. Everybody said, can we please do another? So here it is, shredded event. And this year, we did it at the field office last year. This year, it's going to be right here in the parking lot here at the Northeast Senior Center. Again, that's March 29th. I do want to just take a quick second to recognize a few people that are here. Obviously, there is no campaigning in here, but I do want to recognize some folks in here that are running for mayor. We have Chris Reyes back there. Gino Ortiz Jones right here. Rolando Pablos over there. And Tony Perry on the back wall over there. All right, time for giveaways, and then we are out of here. God, Mike, you're going to kill me, aren't you? You're going to kill me. We're already 5 minutes over, but we don't want to not do the giveaways. Huh? You don't have a ticket? Can we get our ticket? All right. Hey. Here we go. Our very, very prestigious District 10 bags. First up, last 3 digits, 301. 301. 301. Going once. Going twice. Oh, we got a winner. 301 over there. Here we go. Next winner. Last 3 digits. 258. 258. We got a winner.
Very right.
Yes, you did.
Next up, our third winner, 254. 254. Myrtle! Myrtle's right up front. How did that happen?
Because I said I never win anything.
That's true, that's true. All right, and our last one, here we go. 250. 250, right over there. Hey, thank y'all so much for being patient tonight so we could squeeze in ice. They're still here. Mingle, ask questions. Really appreciate the support. Thank y'all so much. Have a good evening.